Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new Elder Scrolls Online video with me, Sherman. Today guys, I'm not bringing you a build. I'm going to talk a little bit about what's been going on, where I'm going with the channel, what I'm going to do with ESO in the future, and I hope you guys are ready, because it's going to be a lot. So, I haven't been playing ESO much lately because I've been mostly on the PTS. There's a lot of changes happening to the game, and a lot of these changes are for the better. We're getting the new armory system, so I've been testing out the armory system a little bit here and there, trying different things, seeing what all you can really do with it, and all I can say is it's a good system, but I hate to say this to the devs, it's poorly implemented. The idea of the armory system's great. It was just implemented in a way that doesn't help overall because of the fact that you either got to return to your home to change your role or the way you play, or you've got to go and buy something to do it. That's not how I would have implemented it personally into the game. I would have just added it as a new feature in the toolbar system like this. You know, you press the button, you go in and you change your class. That would have been a lot easier, or change your character. It would have been a lot easier, and it would have been more efficient than the way they're doing it. But it's their game. I don't get to make those decisions. I get to talk about those decisions and give my thoughts. That's my honest opinion. But that's not the big change. The big change is the changes to gear, and how gear can affect your ability to play the game more effectively. And it is amazing what they did. Regardless of what a lot of people are saying on the forums, a lot of those people are just crying wolf, and that's it. You know, is there going to be repercussions to them changing gear for the meta? No, it's not even going to affect the meta in any way, shape, or form. Who it's going to affect are those who don't play in that group of people. That's it. Those people will still continue to play the meta, and that's fine. They can do that. But the rest of us are going to see this stuff and really deep dive into it to see what all we can do with it. So the way I'm going to be releasing builds from here going forward is I'm going to be releasing not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 100, not even 1,000, but way more than that in builds. And yeah, I'm going to load my channel up with a ton of builds. And no, I'm not going to go back and remodify them every time a new update comes down. I'm just going to keep adding. And the reason I'm going to do that is because there's so many build options in this game, it would be impossible for me to focus on making, like, for me, myself, to make just 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 and just re-release them every update. To me, that's boring. It doesn't really show the expansiveness of this game and its capabilities with character customization and character play. So I'm going to be focusing more on just releasing builds in a consistent way. And yeah, it's going to flood the market. Do I care? Not really. The game's going to let me do this, so I'm going to do it. And I'm excited for it. And here's why I'm excited. There's so many new things that we can do with our characters now with this new system. Yes, hybrids are going to become a lot more viable than they once were. All those fans of playing like bards, or all those fans who want to play a spell sword, or all those fans who want to play something like a sword dancer, or a sword singer, or any of that stuff are going to be able to do that. And they're not going to be able to do it just because. They're going to be able to do it because the game allows it in ways that I can't even explain. Well, I can, but the video would be like 5 hours long, and I don't want to put you through that. So we're going to just have me say it. I can't explain it. The ability to play the way you want has been opened. And it hasn't been just like, we've opened the doors a crack, we've opened the doors all the way. Now, this is good. Now, there's still some things that I would like to see them do with the game. Like, I would like to see a few new enchantments added to the game for jewelry. Like, one that does weapon and spell damage together, not just spell damage and weapon damage. I want those to stay. I want ones that do both weapon and spell damage, but at a lesser degree. Like they did the invigorating trait. It works. It adds to your playability, it adds to the tools necessary to play the game, and it's just a fantastic tool. So don't leave it out. Expand on it. Give the players more tools to build with, and you're going to see a lot more things coming forward. Now, I've been, like I said, busy on the PTS. I haven't been on the PTS as much as I would like, but that's going to change starting next week. I'm going to be on the PTS a lot more, along with in the game a lot more. Because there's characters I have that I'm going to be making alterations to and changing, and then sharing with you guys even those builds. Because, wow. All I can say is, wow, the devs did a great job. Finally, they listened to the majority. They listened to the fans of Elder Scrolls. They listened to the fans of not just role-playing, but the fans of the MMO genre. And I hope that when next year gets here, and they do their year-long event, the content they release caters to that ideal. I still want to see them release 2 dungeons every part of the year. Do the main chapter with a trial, and then do that end DLC like they did this one. Like they've done every end DLC. I mean, I would like them to go back and do like they did with Elsewhere again, where like if you own the chapter and you complete the story, and you complete the story of the end DLC, it gives you an extra little tidbit of things. I would love that, but I know why they didn't do it. It didn't work the first time because the fans didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like it, but a lot of people did. And it's really up to them to decide. So that's pretty much the gist of everything that's going on. So I've said I'm working on builds, and this is one of them. I'm gonna give you a sneak peek. It's the Firesbane Mage. I haven't changed the name yet, but it's the Firesbane Mage. It is a Dragon Knight Argonian, and any race will work, to be honest. Like, you don't have to be Argonian. This is just what I chose for it. Like, you can be a Breton, you can be a High Elf, you can be a Dark Elf if you want to min-max to its fuller potential. Or you can even go High Elf. You can go Redguard with it. It doesn't matter. Like, it will make the build that much funner to play. And that's what I'm really loving right now, is that little piece of my imagination that's been trapped for so long because I haven't been able to unleash it. Well, the devs just gave me the tools to unleash the full spectrum. And I hope you guys are truly ready for this, because it's not going to be a simple walk down the park, here you go, I've got a ton of stuff doing. Like, even with this build, I haven't even started working on doing the CP yet. I know how the CP is going to be. I'm going to unlock everything and what I'm going to have it set up for with the whole entirety of the build. But it's that whole thing that I'm looking at. It's that whole spectrum of the character that I'm looking at now. When I release a build, I'm not going to just share with you guys the main build. I'm going to show you how you can even have it set up for overland play, or how you can set it up to be a support character, or a damage dealer, or a tank, or whatever. And yeah, I'm going to do that with pretty much everything. And it's going to make the videos a little bit longer, maybe 45, 50 minutes. But I'm doing that because I want you to see what the game is truly capable of allowing now. And what it really does allow is a lot more flexibility in how our characters work. With the new armory system, this changes everything. With the new gear system, it changes everything in many ways. And builds aren't going to be just builds anymore. They're going to be characters. Characters that we play, that we enjoy, and that we have fun with. And that's the whole purpose of ESO by design anyways. It's not just play how you want. It's play how you want to enjoy the game. And I've played this game for going on 7 years. Off and on, I should say. Not full time, 7 years, but a majority of my time has been spent playing ESO. And the more I'm away from the game, the more I realize how good of a game it really is. You know, I take breaks, and I never really put like ESO at the top of my preference list. It's literally at the very top of my preferred MMOs right now. I know there's games coming out like Ashes of Creation, and those who like that kind of game will gravitate towards it. I don't. I don't like the way Ashes of Creation it works. The game itself, the idea behind a lot of the features and functions is great. I don't like the character system because it doesn't quite work the way I would like it to. It's really restrictive. And that's why I like ESO. It's unrestricted. There's no restrictions there. And there's really no restrictions there at all anymore. So, you know, and I look at games like Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen. I'll probably play it when it comes out because it looks like a good game, but it's using a lot of classic stuff like the tab targeting and the the classic traditional MMO structure, which doesn't bother me. I like those kind of games, but it's one that I know I won't get into hardcore. Same thing with New World. I played New World. I like it. I like features and functions of it, and I wish other games would take into consideration using a lot of those features, because I think it would make some game systems better, especially like ESO. If they incorporated the city control system into Cyrodiil and made it to where players in both PvE and PvP contributed to that control system, and not just guilds, but the factions like the Ebonheart Pact, the Aldemary Dominion, all that played into this. Like if you were part of the Aldemary Dominion and you controlled a portion of that stuff, you know, the land of Cyrodiil, that would trickle back into the rest of the area of Aldemary. The same thing with the Ebonheart Pact, same thing with the Aldemary Dominion. And this brings purpose back to the game for PvP. And I would love to see that. I would like to see them redo the crafting system to make it more functional. Not in the sense that it's not already, but make it more functional to where every material was used and had a purpose. Like, instead of making gear have a level to it, remove that level. Because really, I mean, we all can admit this. Anyone who plays the game that's been here a long time can admit this. There's really no difference between iron armor and the best armor, because iron armor is what you use at level 1, and what you're using at the best is this material, but they have the same stats on them if you're that level. It really doesn't make any sense to do that. Why not just redo the crafting system and the gear system at the same time to have purpose in all these different things? This would help alleviate a lot of problems with the crafting system. It would make the crafting system better, and it would allow the devs to create material areas in the game, instead of having it be when you hit max level you can craft you only can harvest the main material that you can craft with. That made no sense to me. And I'm not saying that their systems are bad, I'm saying that they're good, but they could be better. And I don't want to see them really mess with classes anymore, or the skills, the gear, that stuff too much. Like, I'll admit there are some that are way overpowered and need to be adjusted, but that's all that needs to happen. Make these adjustments and leave it alone. The constant change is hurting the game in a lot of ways, but a majority of those ways is crying wolf. And we see that a lot on the forums, kind of like the in-game crowd complaining there's not enough tanks and healers, which we won't get into. I've never seen a game with so many tanks and healers in my life. What they're talking about, I don't know. And the reason why you see so many people playing fake tanks isn't the lack of tanks, it's the lack of tanks using the dungeon finder. The lack of healers using the dungeon finder. Most of these people are playing with groups, and they're not using the dungeon finder. They play with their friends. They play with people of like-mindedness. And they avoid the problem areas of the game, which is the dungeon finder, the in-game community that we will. Again, I'm not saying that those people are bad or horrible. They have their reasons, and I understand those reasons. It just doesn't reflect with my ideals of what I think the game needs. And I'm sure it doesn't even match with the devs' idea of what the game needs. So, there are people playing tanks. There are people playing healers. They're just not playing at the end game. Or those people that are complaining about the new gear set changes and crying the end of the meta. It's not even going to phase the meta, because hybrids will never be meta. They don't do enough damage. They don't do enough anything. In fact, most hybrids are very good support, and that's about it. Because a hybrid really becomes a jack of all trades and a master of none. And that's what you need to understand is, yes, they have the ability to use both magic and melee, but they are not as powerful as somebody who is a pure stamina DPS or pure magic DPS. They just can't reach those levels. The game does not allow it at all. The only way that they could do that, and I know people are screaming, oh, they're going to do it with the gear, watch, they're going to make magic and stamina the same stat on the gear. Even if they did that, you still have 64 attribute points, which isn't enough to counter the meta structure. And then when you take into consideration the 6% increase we get in stats from not our champion points, but from the undaunted skill line, still isn't enough to make that big of a difference. And that will always make the hybrids non-existent in the meta, but will be existent in the game itself with people who play the game and understand how things work. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things going on though. I would like to see an update to the Mundus Stones, and not like the Warrior Stone getting both spell and weapon damage or anything like that, but maybe a minor update to some of them to make them more worthwhile. I think the Thief Mundus Stone is widely overused because of crit chance being the mainstay in PvE as your damage purpose. I think that when you do that, it makes a lot of these other Mundus Stones kind of obsolete, except for in PvP, which we all know is chaos and mayhem anyways, right? No, it's not. If you're with a good guild, PvP can be a lot of fun. And that's another thing I want to talk about is PvP. All these people crying wolf on PvP, saying that the PvP's ending, it's gonna go the way of the dodo like all other MMOs did. It might, but Battlegrounds will always be there. I think we might see a shift in Cyrodiil to either be more functional, or they're gonna get rid of it because there's just too many problems with Cyrodiil and the way it functions. That could be a thing that happens. I doubt it also that that's going to be a thing that will happen. it's too important to the game. Do I see them making this server thing and that fixing all the problems? No. I think a lot of it is the underlying code of the game itself. But I'm not going to get into that because I've already said my piece on that whole thing before. And, you know, the devs can say one thing or another, but it's too apparent to me that this game is built on the system that I've said a million times. And even though the devs have tried to say, no, we only use that for temporary purposes and all that, then you need to remove it from your launcher of the game anytime it's reinstalled. Because it's literally pounded into my face now. And I'll leave it at that. But that's okay. They I think they know there's problems, and I know they're trying to fix them. And yeah, they might laugh about it, they might joke about it, but in all seriousness, they know how serious it is because they're the ones who work on it. We only see what happens in the game. We don't see everything on the back end, and we don't need to see that. They need to work that out. They need to figure out what's wrong and how to fix it and make it better. If they can't, then yes, I could see Cyrodiil going the way of the dodo. But only Cyrodiil, because Battlegrounds, I never see a problem in Battlegrounds with desyncing or anything like that. It's only in PvP where there's large-scale events going on do I see this stuff really happening. And that's the other thing, is the way that works. And I'm not going to get into it because it's a lot of complicated stuff to explain for people who don't work in that field. So, going back to what I was talking about, though, about the new changes. So, Deadlands is getting ready to come out, and all I can say is the DLC itself is really well put together. The city is amazing. The overland is amazing. The world boss is freaking crazy. And we don't have to worry about portals. That's all I have to say. We don't have to worry about finding portals. Which, by the way, can we add those to the rest of the game? Because I would love to see those kind of things everywhere. Like random dungeons popping up anywhere in the world. I really like that system from Blackwood. I'm sorry. That's pretty much one of the only systems they added to Blackwood that I really liked. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the companion system either. Again, it's like the armory system. The idea and concept is great, but the implementation, in my opinion, was poorly done. And that's because it doesn't have the functionality that I would like it to have. But I don't get to make those decisions, as I said. I'm not the developer of the game. I don't work for the company. I get no say in anything other than being a player and giving my opinion, which might change it in the future. And I hope they do. I hope they do make the companion system better. I do hope that they make the armory system better. And I know what a lot of people are going to say. Well, they need to make money. Let me tell you, they're making money. They're making money hand over fist. In fact, they're probably making more money than what you even realize. But that's, again, my point. Like, there's a lot of things that people don't realize go on in the background, under the hood of the systems and all this stuff. They only can assume and give their thoughts and opinions. I know a lot of this stuff because I've actually worked with these things. You know, I've used the Hero engine. I've used the Unity engine. I've used the Unreal engine. I've used all these different tools to try and create my own game. And one person, literally, one person cannot make a full-on game with content releases and everything by themselves. It's impossible. I've tried. People are going to point out, like, what's his name that made Minecraft? Minecraft was written in Java, and the way he designed it was to randomly generate pretty much everything, which isn't impossible. It actually works out to be a really functional you know, design structure. But it was kind of like Warcraft. It worked really good, and it grabbed the attention of a lot of people, and it never stopped. Um, and just like today, World of Warcraft might have a lot of internal problems and other things, and all these other things might be going on, but the game itself is still good to those who play it because it has all the features and functions that they like. They like that kind of game. And I don't blame them. Who cares what goes on in the company? Just give me my game. That's all they care about. The same thing with me and ESO. Like, they can make up to a bajillion changes to the way character classes work, builds work, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, it irritates me that they do that, but it doesn't stop me from playing. It makes me want to leave the game for a while, like I've done recently, and yeah, I've been away from the game off and on for a while, for almost a year now. But that's not because I'm getting burned out. That's because I clear the content too fast, and then I get bored because I've got all these characters that I want to play through the content, but they're in content that I've already played through a billion times, and I'm still playing through that content with those characters. So there's that problem. And and it doesn't burn you out. It just makes you bored because you're like, God, I'm playing through this stuff again. Like, give me something new. And so I take breaks. Every DLC I take a break, a month or two, whatever. I go do some other stuff, and when the game does the patch for PTS, I jump on PTS and I start tinkering around with stuff, messing with stuff. And I always follow the game, regardless of what many might think. I actually do follow the game more than probably the average person. I don't read just news articles or watch their streams or things like that. I deep dive everything about the game. So yeah, but that's pretty much it, guys. That's what I got going on. And when I say expect to see builds, it's going to be hard for me not to stop releasing builds. In fact, I might be going a little overboard with builds, and that's fine. The game allows me to do that, and I want to share it with the community. And that's what ESO should truly be about, is sharing our thoughts and opinions and ideas of the game and what we can do to make it better, not only as a community, but to also help advise the devs as players of their game, telling them where they made mistakes and how they can improve them, but not telling them what they need to do. Just telling them, hey, you know what, I don't feel like this was the right change. Maybe do something a little different with it and make it a little better. Like the armory system. There's nothing that says that eventually they don't get away with, get rid of the armory table itself and say, when we added it, we thought it was a good idea, but we realized it would be better if we did it like this. And then all of a sudden that stuff's out of the game, and we get this new feature, and it's really just an additional feature added to something else. I doubt that'll happen, but I like to dream, just like anybody. So, yeah, that's what's going on, guys. And I'm sorry I haven't posted anything sooner, but I've been really involved with a lot of different things. I've been, I've been playing D&D again, not only on console or on PC, but also, privately with people. I've been doing a lot of that, and that can eat up a lot of time, especially when you're the dungeon master. And do apologize for the ringing in the background. There's nothing I can do about that. I have to live with it. So, but yeah. So yeah, I've been really involved with a lot of other things, and not just like D&D and playing other video games, but just real life stuff. Things that consume your time. I have kids. I have a life outside of doing YouTube content. But I am trying to get back into it to bring you guys content, to bring you guys things that I hope you guys enjoy. And to all my followers, I am gonna avoid talking about certain things as much as I can. I can't make promises. All I can do is say I will try. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I could talk 100 hours for hundreds of hours about everything that I see and how things have changed and how it's going to better the game. But in reality, the best way I can do that is by sharing all that stuff with you guys. And that's for another video. So, as always, I gotta close this video up, and we're gonna do that right now. So if you guys like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. If you do subscribe, I do suggest you click that notification bell to be notified when I post new videos. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day. And you really might see me in game. Bye.